I remember the day the doubt started. It wasn't a sudden shock or a dramatic realization. It was a creeping coldness, like a draft coming from a locked window. It started with the pills. I'd been on the same birth control regimen for 5 years. It was routine, it was predictable until it wasn't. My mother-in-law, Evelyn, had always been obsessed with me giving her a grandchild. She didn't just hint. She campaigned. Every family dinner was a battlefield of fertility pressure. "You're 30 now, Alara. The clock is ticking," she'd say, staring at my plate like I was personally failing the entire bloodline. Liam, my husband, bless his heart, would try to intervene, but Evelyn had a way of silencing him with one icy glare. We lived close to them. Too close. Evelyn insisted on dropping by unannounced, bearing gifts of aggressively healthy food or, worse, baby clothes purchased just in case. She had a key, which Liam promised she would only use in an emergency. But for Evelyn, a forgotten pair of gardening gloves constituted a 5-alarm crisis requiring entry. The first strange physical symptom was minor, a wave of nausea one Tuesday morning. I chalked it up to bad coffee. Then came the unexpected breakthrough bleeding. That was unusual. My cycle was normally clockwork. I checked the pill packet. The color coding was right. The timing was right. I dismissed it as stress, maybe the new project at work. But the symptoms persisted. My clothes felt tighter. I was exhausted, sleeping 10 hours a night and still feeling drained. The nausea started appearing every afternoon, reliably, cruelly. Started looking closer at the packets of my birth control. They were always kept in the small mirrored cabinet above the bathroom sink. I noticed something unsettling. The packaging seemed slightly different. My pills were usually a soft, matte blister pack. This one felt too glossy, almost plasticky. I squinted at the imprint on the back of the pills themselves. They were supposed to have a tiny, specific 3-letter code. I could have sworn the letters looked blurred, almost faded. My doctor had stressed the importance of taking the pill at the exact same time every day. I was diligent. I was careful. Yet my body felt like it was betraying me. It felt like my hormones were running wild. The thought occurred to me, a terrifying whisper in the back of my mind. What if these aren't my pills? It was a ridiculous, paranoid thought. The cabinet was always locked, wasn't it? No. We stopped locking it after Liam lost the key 6 months ago. We lived in a safe neighborhood. Who would break in just to swap birth control? The logic was flawed, and yet the feeling of wrongness was overwhelming. I pulled the current pack out and compared it mentally to the last one I had finished. The last one had been tossed into the bathroom trash just 2 days before. I pulled it out. Gross, I know, but necessary. I held them side by side. The brand name typeface on the new pack was slightly bolder. The plastic backing felt thinner. The pills in the old pack were slightly pinkish. The pills in the new pack were pure white. These were not the same. Panic started to set in. Real, cold panic. I thought back. Who has access? The house cleaner? Unlikely. Liam? Never. Only one person was constantly in our space, obsessed with the outcome of my reproductive system, and utterly convinced she knew best for us. Evelyn. Evelyn, my beautiful, smiling, overbearing mother-in-law. The woman who treated my home like her showroom and my uterus like public property. I immediately dismissed the thought. It was monstrous. This was a crime. No one's desire for a grandchild could be that extreme. She was annoying, yes, but she wasn't a criminal mastermind. I put the packs away, feeling foolish. I needed proof, not paranoia. I decided to make a subtle test. The next morning before work, I took my pill, the new white pill. But first, I used a tiny black marker to put a minuscule dot on the edge of the blister bubble, right next to the pill. It was so small, Liam would never notice it. I took a photo of the dotted pill and the position of the packet in the cabinet. When I came home that evening, the packet looked untouched, but the dot was gone. Not smeared, completely wiped away. My hands started shaking. I looked closer at the packaging. Had I made a mistake? Was it just a smudge? I checked the next pill on the pack. I put a dot on that one too. I sprayed a light mist of hairspray over the cabinet door. a barely visible film that would be destroyed by a human touch. The next day, I came home. The hairspray film was broken, a clear smear across the mirror, and the dot on the blister pack, it was gone. I stood there staring at my reflection, feeling the nausea rise, no longer from bad coffee, but from absolute terror. The pills had been handled. Someone was coming into my bathroom, touching my medication. Before we continue, we would like to thank all of you who support us by subscribing, liking, and sharing our content. The only appreciation we ask of you is that you subscribe, like, and share this video if you are not yet one of our subscribers. Thank you. I walked straight to my bedroom and pulled my laptop onto the bed. This wasn't stress. This wasn't bad luck. This was targeted intentional sabotage. I started Googling swapping birth control pills vitamins. The search results were horrifying. Stories of husbands, boyfriends, and mothers-in-law. It had a name: reproductive coercion. My blood ran cold. I realized the scope of what was happening. This wasn't just a breach of privacy. This was a deep, vile violation of my bodily autonomy. I felt sickened, trapped. I knew deep down, without a shred of scientific proof, that those white pills weren't my medicine. They were placebos, or something worse. They were just Evelyn's way of ensuring I failed to prevent a pregnancy, also she could cradle the grandchild she felt entitled to. I needed undeniable evidence, something that would stand up against Liam's immediate denial and Evelyn's inevitable hysterics. I needed proof that only a hidden lens could provide. I needed a camera, and I needed it fast. The idea of setting a trap for my own mother-in-law felt surreal, like something out of a badly written thriller. But this was my life. This was my body. And I realized Evelyn had just declared war. The immediate physical reaction was revulsion. I stood in the bathroom, clutching the questionable pill packet, and felt a wave of nausea so intense I had to grip the counter. I wasn't just sick because of the fake medication. I was sickened by the thought of Evelyn's hands in my private space, meticulously swapping tiny pills, planning my future without my consent. I had to get scientific proof. I drove straight to the pharmacy, a different one miles away, and bought a pregnancy test. Not one. I bought 3. I also bought a new, genuine pack of my birth control pills, the correct brand, the correct color, sealed, and put it directly into my purse. I wouldn't be taking the white pills again. The pregnancy tests were negative. A wave of relief washed over me, quickly replaced by pure, cold fury. Negative meant I hadn't conceived, but it didn't mean the pills were real. It just meant I hadn't gotten pregnant yet. The next step was the doctor. I took one of the white pills, the suspected placebo, with me. I told my OB/GYN a vague story about wanting to verify the effectiveness, maybe mentioning I had accidentally mixed up a couple of packs. She ran a chemical analysis. The call came 2 days later. The doctor's tone was cautious, professional. The pill I provided was chemically inert. The confirmation hit me harder than the suspicion. It wasn't paranoia. It was true. Evelyn had methodically replaced my medication with prenatal vitamins, hoping to trigger a pregnancy she could claim as her own victory. I sat in my office chair, hands gripping the phone. My doctor was recommending I report this to the police. This was considered assault in many states, but reporting Evelyn meant tearing Liam's life apart. It meant the end of my marriage, perhaps before I could even understand how he was complicit. I couldn't involve the police yet. I needed Liam to see it. He wouldn't believe me otherwise. He always saw his mother through a veil of misplaced devotion. "She just loves you, Alara," he'd dismiss. "She's just enthusiastic." Enthusiastic doesn't commit medical battery. I knew how to proceed. I needed proof that was impossible to deny. I went straight to an electronics store and bought the smallest, most discreet security camera I could find. It was disguised as a standard USB wall charger. I went home. I placed the new sealed pack of real pills, which I kept hidden in my safe, into the cabinet. I placed the camera charger into the socket near the bathroom sink, aimed perfectly at the medicine cabinet. I locked the camera feed to my phone. I told Liam I was going to my sister's house for the weekend. I needed space. I told him I was stressed about the job and needed a break. He was sympathetic, distracted, and completely clueless. He just wanted the nausea to stop so he could stop worrying about me. I drove 2 towns over, checked into a cheap motel, and waited. The footage came in blurry at first. Liam showering, Liam shaving, Liam scrolling on his phone while sitting on the toilet. Mundane, domestic stuff. I felt like a spy in my own life. Then, at 11:30 a.m. on Saturday, the footage sharpened. A loud click-clack of high heels echoed against the tile. Evelyn. She had let herself in. She went directly to the kitchen, fussed with the cabinets, probably checking our pantry inventory. And then, with the practiced casualness of a woman who has done this 100 times, she walked into the bathroom. She didn't hesitate. She didn't look around. She went straight to the mirrored cabinet. Before we continue, we would like to thank all of you who support us by subscribing, liking, and sharing our content. The only appreciation we ask of you is that you subscribe, like, and share this video if you are not yet one of our subscribers. Thank you. She reached up, pulled out the current pill packet, and opened her enormous designer handbag. She pulled out a small, identical, glossy packet, the counterfeit one, and then she did it, right there on my tiny bathroom counter. She meticulously peeled back the foil of the fake packet, took out the white vitamin pills, and began swapping them into the correct genuine blister pack, tossing the old actual hormone pills into a tiny plastic bag hidden in her purse. She was removing the active pills and replacing them with the inert ones. I watched, holding my breath, tears streaming down my face. She wasn't just swapping the packs. She was opening my actual prescription and replacing the contents pill by pill, ensuring that when I opened the correct day's dose, I would take her poisonous vitamin. Her face in the reflection was terrifying, not malicious, not angry, just determined, focused. She looked like a surgeon performing a necessary, careful operation, a mother-in-law securing her future. The feeling that overcame me was not rage. It was cold, deep violation. I felt stripped bare. I felt like she had injected me with a foreign substance. She had taken my choice, my body, and my consent, and replaced it with her selfish agenda. She sealed the pack, returned it to the cabinet, smoothed her dress, and calmly walked out of the bathroom, heels clicking triumphantly. She stopped in the hallway, called out, "Liam, you home, dear?" And upon receiving no answer, she left, letting herself out the front door. I stopped the recording. The timestamp read 11:41 a.m. 11 minutes of pure, devastating proof. I had hours of footage, but I only needed those 11 minutes. I didn't call Liam. I didn't call the police. I didn't move. I lay on the motel bed, clutching my phone, the tiny screen glowing with Evelyn's calculating smile. I realized this wasn't just about a baby. This was about power, and I knew exactly what I had to do next.